Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by lineups.com. Nate and Josh here with 6 games in the NBA for you guys. Going to be taking a look at some best bets. Got our player props in here as well. Trying to navigate the injuries. Got some back-to-back. So definitely want to keep an eye on all that stuff today. But make sure to subscribe to that channel. We're coming back each and every weekday with this stuff for you guys. So let's get right into what should be the game of the year, Nate, in terms of the Thunder and the Pistons. But I'm not totally sure that it's going to really look that way today. I would go ahead and venture to guess that we're going to see this thing. I don't know. I don't want to call it a blowout by any means. I'm kind of oppo you on this one just because of the injury tags for the Thunder. But let me know what you're looking at here at the +8.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a work in progress, I guess. And I think the spread will rise as the injury news kind of trickles out. It's possible Chet doesn't go. I think if you do get Chet and Caruso, though, I like the Thunder at anywhere between +8 to +10, where you're going to get it. It just continues to rise as people think the Pistons are just going to roll this team, and I don't buy it. I mean, the Thunder organizationally just not very likely to get blown out. They still do have Dort and Eason to throw at Cade, and in his last 3 against OKC, he's been just putrid. I mean, granted, only one of those was recent in terms of his development, but 16 points a game with an 83 offensive rating, and they don't have much shooting around him. If you can't shoot threes against OKC, they will sag off and they will do their thing in terms of Chet protecting the rim. Chet being Wemby light, and we just saw how that went for this Pistons offense, where Cade couldn't buy a bucket. And the supporting cast could not pick him up. I mean, it does seem like they might be punting this one. If Chet does sit, then I think you would pivot off this. But just to like have an opening look at this kind of discussion, I mean, it's because SGA might be back on Friday to face the Nuggets. They might be prioritizing conference games. But again, Chet and Caruso, I think that's enough competitive defenders around these guys. And I think they can find enough offense with Eason and Isaiah Joe the way they've been rolling. OKC, even their backups, with their top 2 scorers and Hartenstein out, they can still be competitive. And Detroit's not really a team you want to back as a big favorite. I mean, they're 44% as a favorite this year, 38% against the West. They're bullies. They beat up on bad teams. They blow out bad teams. They'll probably win this game, but I don't know if they'll do it by double digits.
They blow out bad teams in the Knicks. That's who they blow out. I just want to throw it out there. They have waxed my boys this year. I mean, I'm a little bit scared of Detroit after a loss to the Spurs, but that's tough back-to-back for sure. So, I mean, I stayed away from wanting to bet 8 points against the Thunder. It's wild to see them as dogs like that, but it could turn into a punt game, to your point. If you see this thing, live, it's almost kind of like if you start to see it get out of hand. I don't know if OKC is going to have the guns out there to hang if it does get there, because they are looking at that Denver game going like, let's go this, let's make sure we have some guys in that one, obviously like Hartenstein. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes there in terms of the 8 points. It's a good amount, but it might move, like you said. So I'm trusting the Dubs here. Again, like it's interesting because the thing that would scare you about this bet for the Dubs being on the road is kind of Ty Jerome and Scottie Pippen Jr. both playing, and kind of Ty Jerome the most, who I think is going to try to light up the Dubs from that brief stint that he had with them. He's a weird guy like that. I think he is petty. He's always talking and mumbling to himself. So I think he will take that seriously. So maybe you look at some stuff for him, but they're still just not playing everybody more than 25 minutes for Memphis. And the Golden State Warriors are, I'm scared to say this, but they're kind of easing into a decent rotation here, man. They are like Gui Santos for president. Let's start there. Like, my man has been absolutely incredible. He's a gamer, dude. You can plug and play him anywhere. Like, sometimes we need to look at FIBA and go, I don't know, man, if you could do it in FIBA, you got some gamer in you, then like I want you there, kind of like Schroeder, right? Like, so, but Guy has been incredible, especially on the boards and the assists. He's making a good amount of his shots, but like he's been incredible. Then you've got like the Pat Spencers and the Moses Moody's. You've got Brandon Pajemski. Everybody seems very similar, but they're really easing into a nice role, and it's different guys doing different things, but they're all a Swiss Army knife in a way. They're all guys who I'm like, hey, I kind of want you in fantasy because we're going to get 12 and 5 and 4 or 13 and 8 and 2, or I'm going to get more than just some hollow stats. This is a lot of team ball, man, with Draymond somewhat at the helm as a ball mover and connector, like playing pretty well. Same with Papa Al. There's just a lot more to like about this team, even though they are going to have those two guards and Scottie Pippen Jr. and Ty Jerome. Still not scared of Memphis right now, man.
No, I mean, that's really it. You could throw any team out there that isn't blatantly tanking against the Memphis Grizzlies, as we just saw 2 nights ago, and they could drop a big number. Yeah,
That's Zach win.
Take it, catching the falling knife, as they say, with the Sacramento Kings, and they win. Memphis just not a serious team in any way with the roster construction. They had a center, and they just cut him, and now they're like, you know what? We have no centers. You can go ahead and drive to the rim and score all the layups you want. Opposite situation here, right? And when you face Victor Wembanyama, and it's sort of a situation where it's like, I don't care who they play. I'm going to trust this defense. But this is a good matchup. And the total's a little high for me. It's 229.5 in general is high. I don't really want to fade the Spurs offense, though. They're like number one on both ends during this 9-game win streak. So why not just fade the Raptors? They're on a back-to-back after getting beat up by OKC. They went under in 5 straight back-to-backs, mostly on their account, and then they scored a bunch against the Bulls and Kings, and went over. And like, those are not real NBA defenses. On the season, they're averaging 105 a game, shooting 43 and 31% on back-to-backs. But then you obviously look at the matchup, and if you're not a good 3-point shooting team and you have to get on the interior against the Spurs, when Wemby's playing full minutes, you're in trouble. I mean, they basically just leave the mid-range to the Spurs. And unless you think Brandon Ingram's going to cook for like 25 plus, I just don't really trust him to do that. In this spot, he has not done that in his 3 matchups against Wemby's Spurs. So like, just because you give up the mid-range does not mean you're going to get torched in the mid-range. Both these teams limit free throws. Obviously, you don't even go in there against the Spurs and try to get the call. The Raptors have played slow at home recently. They play slow in general. They're an under team in general. So I could see this thing being low scoring, staying under 230. But really what I want to do is just back Wemby's defense against a team that I don't really respect on the perimeter.
Yep, 100% agree. I mean, I would definitely be looking under as well. I mean, the Spurs have this tendency, though, to just like in the fourth quarter, if they are up by like 10 or 12, and then they bring on, or more than that, right? They're in the blowout spot of some kind. And then you see them bring on like Dylan Harper and guys that are still playing fast. Carter Bryant just flying down the court. And then they kind of ruin your under by scoring a whole bunch of points at the end of the game after they've beaten up on you with their starters in a way. So if it did get to that point, I'd be a little bit worried about the whole total, to your point. But still at 230 with the Raps, man, it's a slow burn for them. 5th on defense, really not great rebounding, but don't give you a ton of opportunities to get offensive boards. Like, yeah, it's going to be pretty kind of nasty game, I would imagine. But this one should be good. I'm not looking forward to it. The C's sat Jaylen Brown here in the game against the Suns the night before, still handled business, and now they've got him fresh and ready in Denver. The thing that scares you is you never want to be in a back-to-back at Denver. You never want to be playing in the mountains after you just played a game that was a little bit grueling, obviously without JB, but a little bit grueling against the Suns, even though they were missing pretty much everybody as well. I think this is one, though, where I'm still just trusting Boston and their system right now more than I'm trusting Denver. Denver has been the 27th rated defense since Jokic came back. And I'm not blaming Jokic. I'm just letting you know that's the time frame. It's really, it has nothing to do with when Jokic came back. It's just that was the stat, the time frame I wanted to give you. It's Aaron Gordon and P-Watt, and that coincided, right? Peyton Watson went down right before Jokic came back. That's what the key sort of benchmark is here for this defense. Is you went from 2 incredible guys who can guard. I mean, P-Watt, I would say 1 to 4. Aaron Gordon, maybe 1 to 5 in terms of who they can guard on the other team. You lose that, man, and now you're talking about some threes that I think are coming out for the Celtics. Like, if you're going to overpressure D. White, Brown, and Pritchard, they're going to be able to get by you. They're going to find guys. I do not trust Julian Strawther, who they need for the offense. They have to have him for the offense right now, and that sucks because he is a liability on defense. He's even a liability on offense sometimes, just not being in the right spot. He kind of reminds me of Carl Anthony Towns on the Knicks, where like, why are 4 guys on your team yelling at you right now? Oh, it's because you're just not in the right place. Obviously, that's Julian Strawther consistently throughout the game. That's a problem to me as well. So that's the flaw here. And defense and Aaron Gordon and Peyton Watson are completely correlated here. If the Nuggets don't get better than a bottom 5 to 10 team in defense, they're not winning any kind of championships. But that's the same thing as saying if they don't have Aaron Gordon and Peyton Watson, they're not winning any championships, which also makes sense. And I just like the spot for Boston, despite the fact that it's on the road after a game against the Suns.
Well, that is the spot for the Celtics, right? On the road as dogs on short rest. Nobody believes in us. Like, that's what they've been doing all season. Derek White was saying how like Joe Maz would just randomly call him at points in the offseason and be like, everyone thinks we're going to suck. And I love it. and then they just come out and stick it to you. So I mean, yeah, you couldn't get me to take the Nuggets here. I can't fade the Celtics the way they've brought it every single time. I'm a little worried, like you said, about the back-to-back at elevation, but if you get a rested Jaylen Brown in there, maybe that flips everything. Rockets are big favorites here as we move to player props, and I think we both got some looks we like, but Reed Sheppard definitely stands to get a big bump here with Amen Thompson out. Really only missed one game this year, Amen did, and Reed played 32 minutes. He went 16 and 6 in terms of the points assists, despite only going 1 for 4 from 3. And that was against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So much tougher matchup than the Sacramento Kings, who, as you have highlighted, will inflate every point guard stats routinely for the last couple months. Just absolutely terrible at the point of attack. Reed also had 12 potential assists in that game, got 6 dimes, like I said. So, I mean, and in Sacramento, just worst 3-point defense in the last span. So there will be opportunities for him to drive and kick, for him to hit threes. In his last 5, he's on a bit of a heater, 50% from 3, 14.2 points per game. That's while locked into this like 24-minute a game rule where he's basically playing half of every quarter, regardless. And now, like, if we saw him play 32 against OKC, the way they hunt people, you'd think he's good for 30 plus against the Kings. And if you just multiply those numbers in the last 5 per 36, he would be at 31 PRA. Kings will inflate everything, as I'm saying. The first meeting, Reed 4 for 9 from 3 with Amen Thompson having low usage. Then Amen Thompson absolutely took over in the second meeting with the Kings, and Aaron Holiday started. He's since banished. Reed is becoming much more part of the consistent rotation here for the Rockets as they look to find some consistency at the guard position.
Good luck. Yeah, I mean, I still like Reed. I do like the look for everything. I think that's the key here. Like 14.5 points, it's a smidge high, but his assists are I think are a little bit juicy. Boards you can get if you can get close to 2.5. Like you still got some spunk there, because I do think like 24 to 30 is actually a pretty fair projection with 24 being around what you expect. That's what he got against the Jazz. It's kind of all he needs. It's a similar look here, and I'm going with Tari, because not just do we have the matchup, we've got no Amen, right, as you kind of mentioned, and without Amen, like this is a guy who I like to be that sort of, not Amen in terms of a facilitator. Maybe he's not taking as many dribbles. He's not bringing the ball up necessarily. He's attacking the rim. He is the rim attacker now. Jabari has definitely turned into a good all-around player, better shooter than Tari at this point too. But like Tari's going to the bucket in transition. He's taking advantage of a team that, I don't need to go into Sacramento. It's like we can all agree moving forward throughout the rest of the season that when Nate and I talk about teams playing Washington and teams playing this squad here in Utah, we all know what they are. I don't need to be like, hey, they're 4th worst in this and 2nd worst in that. They're bottom 5 in everything. So for Tari, it's really just a spot. Like he's in the starting lineup, and I think he's the most blowout proof of those starting lineup guys. Like even when Amen's there, this dude's, it's not really Okogie anymore. It's Tari Eason at this point, which makes sense to me. You have a bench that can do what it does. You don't have any more Steven Adams to give you extra possessions the way he was. You need a guy to put a guy in there that can also score. You can't have straight defenders like Okogie out there, because it makes you feel better about the defense. Like he knows he's got to have another guy that can attack and create his own shot by just bullying other guys, which is completely what I expect him to do today. So I love the 22.5 PR for him. I like the boards at 7.5 or like a little double. I think you can look at all that stuff, because 30 to 35 minutes is very likely for him today.
Yeah, it's some interesting odds for Atari. I was looking at this as well, but you can add 1 assist and then all of a sudden you're drinking a ton of juice. I do think he's going to have more playmaking opportunities with Amen out. Maybe it's like 25 plus PRA if you can find the best odds there. But yeah, you should factor in heavily to this. And the Kings, like, you have no idea what they're going to do with their rotation. But you can take advantage of the fact that the Rockets are going to play like they're 8 guys. They're not going to mess around. Ime is not going to mess around. He's going to try to put this team to bed. We'll see if they cover. You don't really know, because you don't know if the Kings are actually going to let Russell Westbrook be competitive. They could just pull the plug on that. You have absolutely no idea what they're going to do. Gui Santos, your boy. And I'm just going to take the rebounds here, as he's probably the biggest dude on the court here tonight. There are no bigs on either side of the ball. If Al Horford does not play, you play alongside Draymond, who's about as big as him, but he's actually helped Gui board up lately since he's entered the starting lineup 8 games ago. Leads the Warriors in rebound chances at 11.7. He got the start against Memphis and grabbed 8 of 14. and a quarter of those were contested. So it does show that he can get in there and grab some boards. Lately, he has not grabbed a bunch of contested boards, as Brandon Podziemski has like been small sample size, like just absolutely owning the boards here. I mean, that could just be like a bit of an outlier in the last three. I still like Pods to do his thing, probably with the assists here, probably points and assists going to the basket, because Memphis has shown, yeah, they will just part the seas. They will just let you score on the interior. But we're talking about Gui here as just a guy who's going to soak up minutes in a high-paced game. Started 8 straight, like I said, 39 minutes last night, and he's young enough to go again here, 36 plus. We probably won't see DeAnthony Melton on the second leg of a back-to-back. And like I said, Horford, very much questionable. Porzingis out. Gui is just the guy who's going to be playing alongside Draymond in a game with no real bigs.
Yeah, 100% agree. I love this dude, man. I probably would have taken him if I didn't know that you're already looking at Santos, but like, yeah, he's my guy, dude. And 24.5 PRA is getting a little bit up there for Gui. Like 14.5 points is probably fair. I might wait to see if this hot streak for him on the sort of everything comes down a bit. But even if you added the assist, still at 2.5, like the potentials for him up around 7 as he's in the starting lineup. I'm happy to take him to get 3 dimes on 7. So I think it's all good. And the boards have been something he's doing well. This is the highest number we've seen for him on the rebound. So I would consider adding the assist as well. But he's going to get over on one or two of his props tonight. I buy that fully for Gui. This guy I don't think is going to do that. That's Collin Murray-Boyles. He is at 2.3 rebounds per game in 17 games with Pirtle and Sandro Mamukelashvili both available. That's not good, right? He's gotten 6 boards in 1 of those 17 games. Also not a good hit rate. I feel totally fine being a fishy hit rate merchant with that type of bet. Then you look at the matchup. The thing that would be awesome is if Scotty Barnes would play, and then I could feel really good about CMB having like a ceiling of 24 minutes. There's a world that CMB plays closer to 28, 29. He played that the other day, but Pirtle was missing in that game. So even if Pirtle plays like 15 minutes, like he's been capped at, that's still 15 minutes, 7.5 minutes being taken away from CMB, 7.5 being taken away from Sandro. And then you've got the alien that's over there in Victor Wembanyama, obviously not going to be helpful for getting boards. And if CMB doesn't start, goes up against Luke Cornett, still a dude that's much bigger than him. So I just don't like the matchup for him on the Rebs. He had a good game against this team. I will give him that. It was like October 26th or something. So it was forever ago. But he did have one good game. It's not enough to make me go, yeah, I'm not taking an under for him against this defense.
Yeah, I guess the concern would be that it is a blowout. And like you said, yeah, the Spurs are just in mop up in fourth quarter. But I think Toronto usually pretty feisty at home. I think they'll do a solid job throwing different defenders at Wemby. Like you said, Pirtle active, but not going to play a ton. And they'll just throw Barnes. They'll throw CMB at him. But if you're guarding Wemby, it's hard to also get the board.
Precisely. Yep. So that is all the time we have for you guys in this one, though. Definitely make sure to subscribe to that channel. Coming back to you tomorrow with plenty more on another big slate in the NBA. So until we see you next, happy betting.